Hello everybody and welcome back to ESRL season number 7. We are here in Zandvoort for round number 7 of this 12 round season, with quite an interesting championship battle on the cards, although we don't have Zoxyrus today, so perhaps less interesting than it could be. But we do have the championship leader Martin and plenty others, a 17-car grid, great stuff for the league. Let's get everything on the screen, there we go. So, a few people are, everyone going out on the softs except maybe Speed, but he's still in the pits, so I reckon he'll probably go out on the softs eventually. Good evening to Speed in the chat. I am well, thank you. Unlucky with your penalty at the end there of the race that just happened about half an hour ago. Yeah, if you could tell me the weather, that would be much appreciated, mate. I'd love that. Looks like Robin Brain is the first to get out on track in the V-Carb. In Sector 2 at the moment, tailed by the two Mercedes of Palang and... No, sorry, one Mercedes and one Kick Sauber. Those colours are so... Unless you look closely, it's so hard to tell the difference. But anyway, the Palang, the Mercedes of Palang, and the Sauber of Cialda, presumably. But here comes Robin Brain to start off a lap of Zandvoort, a very, very tricky track. A lot of difficult corners. I love this track personally. I think it's great, but some really don't like it. And Robin Brain is one of them, going way too close to the inside there at turn 1. Lucky not even to hit the pit exit wall through turns 2, 3, and this banked corner of turn 4. Very nicely done from Robin Brain through there, but a little bit dicey through the first few corners. Now into this difficult Sector 2. Another person's joined, I think that was ETE ZNYQ in the McLaren. But anyway, here comes Robin through this high-speed right-hander and into this low-speed right-hander straight after. You've got to get the braking right. This is another tricky corner. You can't get on the curb there or you lose a ton of time from the oversteer, as Robin Brain proves. Into the last sector now. Very difficult right-hander. We're going to see a little bit of porpoising through here, so I hear. As long as people take it quickly. Into the last couple corners, a little bit of the curb there on the inside, but not too bad for Robin, and through the final corner and up to the line. What's it going to be in terms of time? A 10.3 is the opening lap from Robin Brain. Can Palang beat that in his Mercedes? No, he hasn't validated. Cialda can, though. A 9.4, that's more like it, sets the initial pace. We've got Vader Boy as well in the Aston Martin, a newbie, up to P4 for now, just behind Robin Brain. Danger David goes to P2. Johnny Stokes follows in behind. And then it's the other Ferrari of Lou Simeons, who used to be Godzilla, as he was once known. Was once Cialda's teammate, not anymore, but is in the Ferrari today. Finley is in this lobby as well. I expect him to get pole. That's just what he does. He's very good at securing the best lap he can in qualifying, and the race loses some consistency sometimes. Sometimes he has really brilliant races, and other times he's an architect of his own downfall. ZNYQ as well, keep an eye on him, he's very fast too. Eisenborg is back on the grid as well this week, but he's into the barrier at the final corner, and he's going to have to be careful he doesn't get disqualified here. He's sitting there for quite a while, he's letting people go, finally reverses out. That must have been very close to a disqualification. But he was doing the safe thing. Palang goes to P3 with his second attempt. We've got a few more people across the line. Aces coming through the final corner now. Lou Simeons goes to P5. What can Aces do? P7 for him for now. As Giacolacco also on a lap. We've got Reshka, Tarkan on the medium tyres. Finley goes to P2 with his second attempt, but I do expect him to do better on fresher tyres as soon as he can hook up the lap. We've got Red Bull really locking up in the background there, but Reshka through the final corner. Man who knows all with regard to all the car settings and tyres. If you want someone to trust with all of those details, this is the man you will turn to, Reshka. He's coming through Sector 1 now again after a not representative opening lap. Robin Brain goes to P2, beats out his teammate. Clear skies for quali and race, says Speed in the chat, so no rain today. As Reshka comes through Sector 1, a second up already, and, well, purple according to the game, but let me check my telemetry to see if that is indeed true. A few people coming into the pit, so we'll keep riding on board with Reshka, why not? He's in Sector 2 right now, about halfway through the circuit. Let's get my telemetry in. Hopefully it connects properly, but anyway, Reshka into the final sector. From Reshka himself that there is some porpoising going on in the cars through that right-left that we just saw a few moments ago while riding on board. Into the last corner goes Reshka. What's it going to be across the line? A 10.1, that's much more on pace, goes to P8 with that. Speed saying expecting qualifying to be really close. I do agree. It usually is close around here, and Martin now takes pole position, the championship leader from Germany. He's not too bad at this track from past races here, but of course a new game, so sometimes can bring out new changes in form at some tracks, but Martin seems just as good at Zandvoort as ever. The other Williams, Tarkan Gino on a lap, Scott on a lap as well in Sector 2 right now. I believe he will be the next to set a time through that very high-speed right-hander and down the gears into this one. Little wide of the apex, but not too big a deal. And into this one, you've got to avoid that curb, and Scott doesn't. He'll avoid it next time. Now he knows. Touching that curb is instant oversteer. And into the final sector now, just lightly grazing that curb on the inside there, and into the last couple of corners for the Aston Martin driver. Through there, just about staying clear of that curb on the outside. If you get too much of it, you'll be going straight on into the wall. Scott across the line, a 10.5 from the British driver. Oh, as he touches the grass as well into turn 1 on his in-lap, not really paying too much attention, I would guess. After just completing his lap. Managed to save it though, and it's P11 for him for now. What about the Williams of Tarkan Gino? Still not a competitive lap time, although he is still on the mediums for some reason. Eisenborg on track as well, he'll be the next up, but keep an eye on ZNYQ. I know he is pretty damn quick, pretty much on par with Finley, I would say, and I'm still expecting Finley to take pole here, but here comes the McLaren. As we ride on board with Eisenborg now into the last couple of corners for the Sauber driver. I believe another former teammate of Cialdo at some point in the Cockpit Championship, of which Reshka is the current championship leader. Eisenborg, a 1:11.4, quite a way off the pace. For now, goes P15. ZNYQ has invalidated, so no opening lap from him. But what would it have been? A 9.6, yeah, he would have been up in the top 4. So definitely one to keep an eye on, this McLaren. As everyone else getting their laps in as well. We've got Vaderboy on an outlap. Just behind is Tarkan Gino on the mediums, who is improving as it stands, but only enough to beat Speed into P16. I think he's just doing some practice out there, to be honest. A 12.0 from him. What about this Ferrari coming across the line? It's Johnny Stokes, the reigning champion, goes to P5 in the Ferrari. And yes, I will still be referring to him as the reigning champion. No one is going to stop me, thank you very much. The Sauber of Cialda into the pits, no improvement for him. What about the other Ferrari? Lou Simeon's to P3. In the meantime, there's a Mercedes, Palang coming across the line for P7. The V-Carb of Finley goes to pole. That's what I expected to happen. There he goes, half a second he takes it as it stands. We've got Eisenborg coming across the line. No, he's into the pits. What about ZNYQ? Invalidates again, does the ESRL rookie, as he flies into the pit lane. And we've also got a Red Bull, I think that's Martin, no, it's Speed coming across the line to start his next lap. Hasn't really set a representative lap time so far, so we'll see if he can do that here. The Aston Martin of Vader Boy coming across the line in the meantime, but that's not competitive at all. So yeah, definitely easing off there is the Aston Martin. Who else on a lap right now? I think Johnny Stokes is coming in. Womax maybe. Here he goes through the final corner and to the line. It is an improvement by 3.5 tenths. And he goes to P12. What about the other Alpine on an outlap just behind? We've got Aces who goes to P9 there in the Haas just behind. Big improvement from the British driver. What about the other Haas of Jack Alaco, currently in 13th place? Big improvement to P12. That's much more on the pace from the Scottish driver. What about Speed? What's he doing? He's through the final corner now, 2.8 up. This is much better from the South African. He's looking for a second row start here. Across the line, and it's a 9.3. It's in fact the front row. 3.5 tenths off of Finley. That's much, much better from Speed Alcoholic. Much more like it. He'll be very happy with that one. He's up into second place for now. Vader Boy not currently on a lap. Who else have we got? Danger David. He is on a lap at the moment, but only barely behind his previous best. See what he can do in these last couple of corners. Oh, that's definitely wide at the penultimate corner. And how much is that going to cost him? Is he going to be heading into the pits? No, he's going to see out the lap, but is it going to be better? Yes, but only slightly, by 0.5 tenth. And Scott's been disqualified for blocking the pit lane because he spun on the exit of the pit lane, and he's been disqualified from the session, and that is just his luck. So that is a shame for Scott. And he pulls over to the side, and he will start from the back of the grid. Who's next to come across the line? It's going to be Palang, but I believe he's into the pits. Yes, he is. Red Bull behind into the pits as well. That's Speed. 5 minutes to go in this session as Danger David invalidates, and everyone pretty much in the pits at the moment, apart from Tarkan Gino, one of the ones out right now, who's finally gone out on a set of softs. So we're going to really see what he can do here, because he's been on mediums up until now. See how much pace he really has in that Williams. Here he goes across the line to start his next run. Off he goes down towards turn 1. Scott says whoops. Yeah, whoops indeed. That's a shame. It's happened to all of us at some point. We've all been disqualified from a race as long as we've been league racing for a while at some point for something stupid. So unfortunate there. Tarkan Gino down through sector 1. The Haas gets out of his way. 2 tenths up already on those soft tyres, as we might have expected. Into the middle sector now, this high-speed right-hander, could have gone a lot faster through there. If you're really brave, you can go through there without braking. You can just kind of lift and go all the way through, maybe even just keep your throttle down through there. We might watch one of Finley or Speed or Mars laps later on to see if they do that. If they do that. But Tarkan 2 tenths up now in sector 2, but that's a lot less than I was expecting on the soft tyres. I think he's not really adjusting to how much more grip he's got, and very deep there. Through the final corner goes Tarkan Gino. A rookie tonight. To the line, it's not going to be very competitive at 12.2, and in fact it's slower than his lap on the mediums. Robin Brain, no improvement for him. But Aces versus Kings coming through turn 1 at the moment, so he'll be the next to set a lap. 3 minutes to go in quali. We're going to have a hectic final few runs here, as a lot of drivers still in the pits and some out on out laps already. Aces has backed out. He's backed out already. No improvement for the Haas driver at this stage. So what about Lou Simeons? Nope, he is into the wall, in fact, or at least on the grass in Sector 1. So he's definitely not going to be improving yet. Does he have number 27 on his car? Hang on. Wait a second. Is that 27? Oh no, it's 87. Okay, I was like, how on earth did he get 27? Because that's Nico Hulkenberg's number. Johnny Stokes coming through Sector 1 at the moment, the defending champion. And yes, Scott, if you're still listening, I am going to call him the defending champion for the whole season. And you can't stop me. Through Sector 1 he goes in the Ferrari. There's other people coming across the line as well, so let's ride on board with Robin Brain. No improvement for him as it stands. Vader Boy on an outlap. Who's that behind him? Is that Tarkan Gino? No, it's Reshka on an outlap as well. So he's starting his final run. Aces, not improving, but about to start his final run as well. Johnny Stokes, Lou Simeons through the final corner. No improvement for him at the moment either. Who is this? It's Womax coming through. I believe is going to be the next to set a lap. Coming through into the last couple corners now for the Bulgarian. Just a bit too much on the curb on the outside there perhaps, but not too bad. He's going to get a nice little toe off his teammate down towards the line, and it's 11.1. It's not even an improvement for Womax, in fact, and that's pretty much his session over, I'd have thought. Johnny Stokes goes to P4 onto the second row. Can he be displaced from there, I wonder? The Sauber of Cialda, no improvement, but still 1 minute to go in the session. We've got the Mercedes of Palang on an outlap, just starting one, his final run. Eisenborg into the pits. Who's this Red Bull? It is Speed Alcoholic coming across the line. Who else? We've got one Ferrari out of the tarmac there. Lou Simeons around in Sector 2, so no improvement for him as of yet. Robin Brain to the line, but he's not improving. What about Aces? Slight improvement for the British driver. Is it across the line? No, he lost it all with no ERS there at the end. Jack Alacco starting his final run. Vader Boy, no improvement, invalidates his lap, so he's got one more attempt here as he goes across the line to start it. What about Lou Simeons? No, he binned it, of course. Who's that behind him, though? I think it might be the Williams of Reshka. No, it's Womax into the pits behind him, but we will ride on board with Tarkan, no, not Tarkan Gino, the other Alpine, Danger David. No improvement for him, he's done. Unless, no, he's got one more run, just about. I don't know how he got over in time. It must be near the end of the session now, as Cialda coming through Sector 1, or Turn 1 now. There we go, end of the session. So these are the final runs. Speed Alcoholic to the line. Is it an improvement? No, nothing for the South African. Finley's coming through as well. We've got two cars coming across the line, and ZMYQ goes to third place. We expected him to be up there, and he is. There's a Red Bull all the way off the circuit. I'm not sure who that is in Sector 3. But we've got Reshka coming across the line. Improvement for him, perhaps? No, not really. Well, improvement in time, but not position. He stays P12. We've got a Haas coming across the line. Jacko doesn't improve. Aston Martin into the pits just behind. I apologise for the dogs. Finley, not improving. Cialda, not improving either. What about Martin? He's going slow as well. Danger David is the last hope for an improvement, and he is. 1.5 tenths. He could get himself into P7 here. Down to the line he goes. He's out of ERS. How much is that going to cost him? It costs him quite a bit, in fact. He stays P8 by 1,000th of a second. And that is your qualifying session. Finley takes pole as expected, with Speed in P2 and then ZNYQ in the top 4 in the end. On that second row with Cialda. Martin, the championship leader, demoted to row 3 with the defending champion Johnny Stokes. So close besides Finley, indeed, Speed. Yeah, Mar P5, he's got some work to do. And, well, Zoxyrus will be hoping he has an absolute shambles of a race. Because Mar is currently the championship leader. But I don't believe it's by too much. Mar 10 leads. Oh, no, it is. By 23 points, actually, because of Zoxyrus retiring last week. So Mar 10... 99, Zoxyrus 76, and Johnny Stokes on 70. So the Ferraris, both of them, will be hoping for a bad race for Mar here, and also for speed, because the Constructors is hanging the balance here as well, with Ferrari only Red Bulls at this stage. Finley takes pole position then from Speed Alcoholic, and then ZMYQ and Cialda on row 2, Martin and Johnny row 3, Lou Simeons and Danger David row 4, with Robin Brain and Palang on the 5th row. Aces starts the rest of the grid in P11, with Reshka in P12 with him. 7th row is Jacko and Womax, Vaderboy the newbie in P15, Eisenborg in 16, and then a couple of other people. Scott was DSQ'd, and whoever P17 was, I don't remember. Finley is very fast in quali, and rightly so. I assume that's to me calling Johnny the defending champion. All right, I'm going to quickly refill my water. I will be right back as the drivers prepare to start the race. So here we go, on to the formation lap. Let's have a quick look at tyres then. Oh, a big split up and down the grid. About half and half softs and mediums, but Finley and Aces both starting on the hards. Of course Aces has gone for an unorthodox strategy, as always, but interesting, a big split between softs and mediums. I wonder which is going to be better. Well, we only have to look to... Whoa, Finley nearly bins it on formation lap. We only have to look to one driver to see which strategy is the best, and that is this man, Reshka. He's on the softs, so I am inclined to believe the softs are the best tyre to be on at this first stage of the race. So we'll see how he can progress through the grid as the race goes on, particularly in this first stint. So a quick look at helmets, see if there are any different ones to the default. Speed, oh, that's quite nice. I like the colours. I like the little blending on the blue as well. I'll give that an 8.5. In fact, maybe even a 9. That's a nice helmet. Default. Mar 10. Yeah, solid 7. 6 or 7. I prefer the blue with speeds one though. Default. Danger David. Oh god, I don't like the purple with that red. That is not good. 4. Robin Brain. Just solid yellow. Can't really see any more of it. Without seeing any more of it, I'll give it a 5 because I think there's a white stripe there. Yeah, there is. But yeah, not much to say about that one. Default, and default. There we go. There's your helmet review. Done all in a 1-minute formation lap. Finley leads the pack then from pole position as the 5 lights are about to turn on. 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights. And we're underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. It's a drive-through for Palang for a jump start. Someone's in the wall further back. That's Danger David already. Speed down the inside. Cialda, as Finley gets an awful start on those hard tyres. He's down to P4 and Speed leads the Dutch Grand Prix. Heading into turn 4. Cialda just behind and ZMYQ there up with them as well on the mediums. Finley's got a lot of work to do to keep these drivers behind on those hard tyres. Martin right behind as well. The championship leader needs to get a move on here, but he can also play this race safe if he wants to and just gain some more points on the Ferraris. But it's Martin. Of course he's not going to do that. He's going to go for the win, as he always does, as Finley into the back of ZMYQ, and Robin Brain gets past both of them. What an overtake from the other V-Carb driver. And here comes Martin again on the exit, but he can't get past this hard tyre V-Carb of Finley, and he's going to be getting a little frustrated now already, and we're not even at the end of lap 1. Here we go though on the exit. Oh, Finley with a big snap of oversteer. Martin survives though, and he's up into P5, and Finley really struggling now. Interestingly though, Ace is not struggling so much on the same tyre. He's staying in P11 for now. Reshka making moves on Lou Simeons now into P9 down the inside, but the Ferrari brakes very late. Can Reshka get him on the inside of turn 1? He's going to get the better exit on the softs, and yeah, up to 9th place for the British driver into turn 4. And relatively safe through there. Palang still has a drive through to serve, but he's still trying to race with Johnny Stokes nonetheless. Down into sector 2, he looks to the inside, very risky move. Johnny lets him through. He's not interested in battling with a driver who has a drive through, and rightly so. The Mercedes temporarily up to P7, but he does have to take that penalty at some point. Danger David out of the pits with a new front wing after that collision before turn 1 had even gotten to him. And he'll be hoping for a safety car in this one, I think. He's gone onto the soft tyres, so yeah, for sure hoping for a safety car here. As Robin Brain puts the pressure on ZNYQ, the only driver in that top 5 on the medium tyres right now. Finley already losing a ton of time to them on those hards, as Reshka makes another move down the inside of the defending champion. Into P8 he goes. Palang into the pits to serve that drive through, and will drop now to the back as Martin makes a move on Robin Brain into turn 1, and the championship leader back into 4th place. But Robin Brain back down the inside perhaps on the next corner, but doesn't quite send it. And Martin looking to be, I believe it would be the only or the second driver in ESRL history to win more than one main Division 1 title. He's won the Cockpit Championship, he won the other championship. There was another championship, the Sprint Championship as well at one point, but he's never won more than one of any of them. So he'll be looking to take his second ESRL title this season, after he won season 5 by 1 point over Speed, who is now his teammate, and Short Marcus, who is also a notable absence today that I've just noticed. But Mark putting the pressure on at those top 3 now. Speed still leads the way from Cialda. Cialda too far away to mount a challenge into turn 1, or is he? Look at the overspeed he's got down towards the first corner. He looks to the inside and he sends one. Speed leaves him the room, but they're going to go side by side on the exit, and Speed gets the better traction and stays in the lead. But Cialda really went for that one, and I'm not sure Speed was entirely expecting it, although he did leave room, so maybe he was expecting a little bit of a move from Cialda, but I'm not sure quite that much of a dive was what he had in mind. ZNYQ as well, putting the pressure on, doing well on those medium tyres at the moment, and Reshka is past Finley now into the top 6 for the Williams driver. But a long way back to the top 5. 2 seconds is the gap that he needs to make up if he wants a chance of racing with those guys. We'll see if he can do it. Oh, big mistake from ZNYQ there. He is ghosted. Could be an opportunity for Mar, but not quite. Doesn't quite have the speed to drive inside the McLaren Ghost and sneak his way past in that fashion. But Down they go towards turn one. Cialda much closer this time. Surely Speed's in trouble here. Cialda to the outside, but interestingly not as much overspeed this time. They go side by side through the first corner, but Cialda gets the better traction this time. They're still side by side. Someone's got to back out, but no, they don't back out. Neither of them. They still go side by side through turn three. Somehow they make it work. Speed still around the outside and manages to get the traction. What a move from Speed to retain the lead of the race. Cialda still just behind, and ZNYQ piling the pressure on. He's practically inside the gearbox of this Sauber driver as they head through Sector 2 now. Martin watches on as well, and Robin Brain too. Reshka slowly catching up, perhaps, thanks to all of this battling. So they could invite 3 more cars into this train, and the one car they really don't want to invite into the train is this man, Finley, on the hard tyres. He's not had a good start, of course, lost 6 positions already, but he's finally gotten into the groove with these tyres, and if he manages to catch up to the front pack, then they are in big trouble of Finley blowing them away in the second stint, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen as the battling continues. Cialda around the outside of Speed again. Speed has the inside line, tries to get the traction. It's deja vu, but not this time. Speed backs out and Cialda takes the lead of the Dutch Grand Prix. We have a new leader once again, but look at all these 5 cars so close together. This is fantastic stuff for the lead of the race. Robin Brain said he'd be battling for P18 today, but as people who say that so often do, he was bluffing. Completely lying. He may say he hates this track, but here he is in P5 and challenging the championship leader. He sends it to the inside and there's contact. He loses the rear, and that's ZNYQ round just ahead. The McLaren all the way dropping down the positions down to P8 he goes, and I don't know if there was contact up ahead, but either way he was round, and Martin gets his way onto the podium as a result of that, despite Robin Brain giving him a tap into that corner, which I don't think Mar will be too happy about. Hello to Harris in the chat. It is indeed, it's the Netherlands today, as Cialda and Speed once again go wheel to wheel into turn 1, and this time Speed comfortably ahead. Back into the lead. I think he has lower wings than Cialda, so he will be faster on the straights for this race, in theory, if that is correct. The 2 Red Bulls looking for a fantastic result here. The Ferraris at the moment in 7th and 9th, as the Red Bulls 1 and 3 are going to be looking for a huge Constructors' Championship lead at the end of this race. It was a great start to the season for Ferrari, but they have really tailed off in the last few weeks, as that is Eisenborg who's round in the middle sector, further back, or the first sector rather. And he drops all the way down to 17th now, as these top 3 begin to streak away from Robin Brain, and now Reshka, who has joined the party. And Finley, by extension, is still very much in this race. He has suffered big time at the start here in this first stint, but he is going for a bigger reward later on when he's going to have the better tyres, as Reshka goes down the inside. Cialda and Speed and Martin all the way through, by the way. The German, the championship leader, back into the lead, and Speed and Cialda make contact through turn 3. Somehow Speed does not end up in the wall. I do not know how, but this racing is really getting to boiling point now. Martin now leads into turn 1. I was focusing on Reshka and Robin. I didn't see that Martin had made a double overtake, as Robin and Reshka again we have to focus on, because there's a bit of lag actually. Reshka lagging a bit there, and going briefly behind Robin and then back ahead of him. How's tyre wear? Yeah, it's I'm not actually sure how the tyres are going to wear around here, but given that half the grid seem to think that the softs are the way to go for the first stint, I don't think tyre wear is going to be too bad around here, so keep that in mind. It could even be a soft medium, but I think soft hard is more likely, which is going to really benefit Finley as long as he can stay in this DRS joined the DRS train for the front of the field, but Martin and Cialda going wheel to wheel. Look at that. They were weaving their way down towards turn 1, and Cialda makes the move back into the lead, and Martin demoted back to second place. Plenty of fighting going on though, as Cialda goes a bit deep into turn 4. But doesn't leave himself too vulnerable on the exit. And now Reshka into 4th place and challenging the top 3 here. All that battling has allowed these guys to come back into this race. Robin Brain is right behind the British driver as well. Looks to the inside. It's not the first time he sent it at this corner today, and it's not the first time that it's failed either. No contact this time, but he didn't quite get the move done. Reshka saw him coming and left the room, but Robin, I think, perhaps a little frustrated behind this Williams. Oh, but he goes very deep there. That's going to cost him a couple of tenths. He's just about gotten away with not going in the gravel. And Finley is the man to watch here. On pole position, he has had a lot of suffering in this first stint, but he's going to be on so much better tyres later on as Martin retakes the lead, and Speed having a little look to the inside there for turn 1, and the 2 V-carbs going wheel to wheel now. Finley down the inside. ZNYQ retires in the pit lane. That's a shame, but Robin remains ahead of his teammate for now, but Finley is charging through the field now, or he's going to start charging through the field as those softs begin to wear down. And this train for the lead is now 7 cars long, although Reshka struggling to stay with the top 3, so we'll see if that comes back down. But defending champion as well in the mix. He's P3 in the championship right now, some 26 points behind Martin, I believe. So he does need Mar to have a poor race, and he needs to have a great race himself. But as we know from last season, Johnny very, very good at picking up the pieces, just staying within range of the front. He may not be the fastest driver on the grid, but and he certainly wasn't last season either. But he managed to win the championship, and just through these kinds of results, just staying within range and waiting for it all to go wrong, as it has done there. Robin Brain is round at turn 1, and Johnny Stokes now up to P6, and Finley is freed from his teammate as the V-carb driver, or the other V-carb driver, is down to 7th place, and now under pressure from the other Ferrari of Lou Simeons. So we are now down to 6 cars in this train. Reshka is back on board with those top 3 now, as Finley now hits the grass and nearly hits the wall, just about saves it. We've had both V-carbs lose the car in the same lap, but at different corners, and Finley down to P6 now, and just ahead of his teammate, would you believe it? Some 3.5 seconds behind the rest of the pack, but this is bad news for Johnny, because he's now out of the DRS of the top 4, and so he needs them to start battling a bit more so he can get back into range. And well, we had a 7-car train for P1 at the start of this lap, and at the conclusion of the lap we now have 4 cars in the train. So it's been a pretty eventful lap, it's safe to say, as Robin gets his way back past his teammate, and Womax makes an overtake as well for P9, getting past Jacko for that position. Jacko doing very well at the moment in the points. Points for the top 10, standard F1 point system here in ESRL. 25 for winning the race, then 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1 for the top 10. Everyone else gets nothing. Martin, though, trying to extend that gap now to Cialda, who's having a little bit of a few problems on those soft tyres now. 6.5 tenths, 7.5 tenths. Martin just doesn't seem to be having the same issues with tyre wear. 9 tenths is the gap now. Cialda's got to be careful. They have already gone past the detection point, so he will have DRS to turn 1, but he's got to hook this lap together, because otherwise he's in real danger of losing that DRS and allowing the championship leader to streak clear as Speed looks to the inside as Cialda overreacts, goes deep, and Speed could have an opportunity, but I think he lost it himself on the exit of turn 1 there, and has to stay behind down towards turn 4. But Cialda, that is not going to help his chances to stay within range of Martin here, going deep there. That will have cost him a few tenths at least. And now Reshka putting the pressure on this Red Bull, but so much slower through that right-hander there. Speed gaining about maybe 4 tenths through there. So I think Reshka a little too conservative there. He races in cockpit cam, does the Williams driver, so all respect to him. And I think it is fair to say he's the brains of the grid in terms of knowing what's what. And what I predicted has come to pass as Cialda loses the DRS to Martin and now is going to be extremely vulnerable to the other Red Bull of Speed behind, and even to Reshka behind him. And Martin is now in full control of this Grand Prix after starting from 5th place. It has all gone right for him in this first stint, and the Season 5 champion, I have to say, is showing himself to be a far more mature driver this season than when we saw him in that championship winning season 2 seasons ago. Much like, well, a little like another driver in a Red Bull I could mention, although the jury's out whether he is actually a more mature driver these days. But anyway, Cialda right behind Speed still, 1.9 now to Martin, and Speed perfectly happy, I think, to let his teammate run away with this one as it stands. Reshka still in the mix too, and Johnny Stokes is closing in. 1.1, 1.0. He hasn't got the DRS down here, but it's kind of inconsequential here anyway. He needs it here, though. He needs a good corner. He gets a little bit deep, and there's the detection point. He doesn't quite get it, but he's very close. He might have it next lap. As they come down towards turn 1 for the 15th time in this Grand Prix. We've got yellow flags. I believe that's Robin Brain who's binned it. Cialda and Speed both dive into the pits at the same time, presumably for a set of hard tyres. No mediums for Speed. What about Cialda? Cialda white-walled hard tyres, so Speed thinks the mediums will make it to the end, but Cialda does not agree, so we'll see who is correct here. The mediums still look pretty good, I have to say, for those who have them on, particularly Johnny Stokes, although he did lose quite a bit of time this lap while we weren't watching him. But Finley's hards were very, very bad at the start of this race. So we'll see if Cialda can fare any better on them. 1.2 seconds to Speed now. We'll see. I think that gap's probably going to go up on this lap unless Speed makes a mistake, and it's already going up. Yeah, you can see just how much more grip those mediums have got for the Red Bull driver. Cialda now 1.6 behind. It's gone up by 4 tenths in just a few corners, and there's another 3 tenths there, 1.9. Those hard tyres are awful compared to the mediums at this stage, as Martin now comes into the pits from the race lead, and that means Reshka leads an ESRL Grand Prix. Might be for the first time, I'm not sure, but Martin comes out on the mediums. So he agrees with Speed that is the right decision. Speed coming down towards turn 1, and watch the right hand side of your screen. Are we going to see Martin emerge from the pit lane? There he is on the right hand side, and Speed's going to be a lot closer to his teammate. What an undercut it's been for the South African. And here we go through turn 2 and 3, and oh, Martin a little squirmy through turn 3 there and into 4, but he's still just about ahead of his teammate. But now Speed piling the pressure on. Look at the overspeed he's got. He goes round the outside of his teammate. Surely not. through here. He gets a bit on the grass. That'll cost him grip on the exit of the next corner, and he has to stay behind. But Martin in trouble from his teammate here. Speed Alcoholic in with a real shot of winning this race now. He's going to have DRS down to the next corner, but it's not going to matter here. It's going to be down to turn 1 that matters. But Martin could well get it from Womack's ahead, as Robin Brain gets another penalty, and there's a Haas round. That's aces on the hard tyres round, and he's down to P12 now. And Martin didn't quite get the DRS as Reshka bails into the pit lane, but I think it's a bit late. He's going to get undercut by all the other drivers behind. He's got onto the mediums, but where's he going to be? Where are the Red Bulls? Martin and Speed swapping positions. Speed down the inside of his teammate and into the lead, or the net lead of this race. Where's Reshka? He's way down, coming out the pits now, and he's going to be 2 seconds down on them. So that undercut working wonders for Speed in particular, and Reshka losing out as well. But Johnny Stokes, Lou Simeon's, Jacko and Finley have got to go longer and longer in this race. Robin Brain retires in the pit lane. Not too much of a surprise there, given the track limits penalties that were appearing on the screen. But Finley some 6 seconds behind the defending champion, and I think those hard tyres proving to be a bit of an error for the pole sitter. Is he going to really lose out here? Speed gets past Jacko. Martin tries to follow him. Jacko leaves the room. I don't think he was expecting that. And he's more than happy to let the 2 Red Bulls go. I don't think he was at all interested in fighting with them. It'll be interesting the DRS that he gets on the exit. But maybe he won't be, because maybe he'll be into the pits this lap. No, staying out. He's going medium soft, I think, is the strategy there, as Martin and Speed once again swapping positions. They're working well together now to try and gap the rest of the field, particularly Reshka. I think he's really the only driver in this fight now, because Finley and Johnny, they are, well, really only Johnny, is going to be on the softs, but they're not that much better than the mediums. We saw that in the first stint. So Johnny going to be in a spot of bother here, as Cialda now 6 seconds behind Reshka. Those hard tyres, awful. I think what we have learned from this race is avoid the hards. The soft medium seems to be the way to go, which is very unique to this track, I would say. There's not a lot of other tracks in this game that have that property. Usually the hards are the tyres to be on, as Aces is our next retirement in the pit lane. He's had enough as well. It's Reshka now just behind Jacko. He's going to want to lose as little time as possible to this Haas, and as such he's going to use the DRS to turn 1 to make the move. Finley finally into the pits meanwhile. Is it going to be softs and mediums for him though? If it's mediums, I fail to see the point of him starting on the hards. The Red Bull swapping again, as Speed back up into the net race lead. Reshka 1.8 behind them as he gets past Jacko. He'll be hoping they battle a bit more, and a mistake from Martin. Big mistake from Martin, in fact. And he's lost a lot of time to Speed. He's 1.2 behind now. We've got yellow flags. That's going to be the Haas of Aces just going out to retire. But Martin needs to push, and he could allow Reshka to get the DRS here, but 1.1, Martin showing his pace now when it really matters. And he does indeed open up that gap. There's still a few more corners to go. Maybe there could be another mistake on the cards for the championship leader, who knows. But he seems planted to the track at the moment. 1.1 is the gap to Speed. Is he going to have DRS, I wonder? Speed gets a better line through that corner, and they've gone past the detection point. No DRS for Martin. He should probably have it next lap. I do think he has a raw pace advantage over Speed, but who knows? Speed did out-qualify him after all. As Reshka loses a little bit more time to the German in that lap, but still going very strong, and perhaps on the cards for a podium here, and it would be completely on merit. He's driven very, very well so far today. Still 17 laps left to go, but he's in a good spot as Reshka as it stands. Johnny Stokes still leads meanwhile by just under 6 seconds from his teammate. Finley exited the pits on the mediums. Why start on the hards then? Don't get it. Don't understand that one. But he's down in P8 on exit, just 2 seconds behind Cialdo, who he should manage to dispatch of pretty quickly. The Italian really struggling on the hards. And Finley's going to be so much faster. Jacko's still staying out, by the way. He's definitely going to the softs for the last on the gravel there, but I don't think any harm done. Although a little bit of a skid mark that he's left as a result of that. Johnny Stokes now into the pits as Scott bins it in the middle sector, unfortunately. So he has to come round, but Johnny onto the softs. Where's he going to exit the pits? That's the question. He is just exiting now, but he's so far behind. Look at this. Giacolacco comes through. He's behind the hat. He's going to be just ahead of Cialda, so that's crucial for him. But 2.6 to Jacko, and then another 3.6 to Reshka, so he's some maybe 6.5 seconds away from the top 4. That is how much it's cost him, and I think starting on the softs definitely seems to be the way to go. And well, we got the prediction right. Anything Reshka does for strategy is probably the right call, and it was indeed today. And Lou Simeon's going to get a rude awakening when he pits. I think he's going to be all the way down in P8 when he does pit, thanks to Womack's being so far behind. But Speed still leading this race. I think it's looking like it's going to be a Red Bull 1-2 today. But who knows, we could get a late safety car to mix things up. We could have a collision between the two. Wouldn't be the first time that Speed has collided with a teammate in ESRL after all. As some of the more long-term viewers might recall, Abu Dhabi last season. But Lou Simeon's exits the pits on those soft tyres, and he is going to be down in P8 as Johnny Stokes makes the move on Giacolacco into turn 1 and chases after the top 3. Who knows, maybe it is the right call. He is going to be on very fresh soft tyres compared to those mediums. 5 seconds is the gap. We'll keep an eye on it. 5.1. We'll see what it is at the end of this lap. And yeah, Lou Simeon's on the soft tyres, but down to P8 as Tarcangino gets a pit lane speeding penalty, unfortunately for him, but also goes onto the softs until the end of the race. Palang now into the points, up into P10, and Giacolacco still going on those mediums. He's gone a very, very long way on those tyres, and surely into the pits this lap, I would have thought. Finley is going to want to clear him as soon as possible, but I think he's going to want the DRS first. There's the active detection point, so he is going to get the DRS, but oh, very close to the back of him. There was contact there, in fact, as he's going to get the DRS down to turn 1. He's going to look to the outside, but he has to back out, and he looks to the inside instead. Jacko stays out another lap. I've no idea why, but he's now cleared by the VCARB driver, and Finley up to 5th place, some 2.3 behind Johnny. And well, Johnny has taken out half a second from Reshko on that lap, but is that going to be enough? Is that going to sustain over this stint? And is it going to be enough to be able to make the move before the end of this one? Could he even challenge the Red Bulls, I wonder? Is he going to have enough pace for that? That's the question. Not sure who that was that somehow spun in the middle of the straight, but I think it was Palang. But anyway, Giacolacco overtaken by another driver now, Cialda up to P6, and I don't know what Jacko's doing. I really don't. He's still in the fight for points here, definitely, but I think by staying out this long, he's making it harder for himself and not easier. As I was taking a drink, we did have a change for the lead. I apologise for missing that, but I think just a standard DRS pass as Martin retakes the lead from his teammate. Reshka 2 seconds down, just doesn't quite have the pace to keep up with those top two, but I don't think there's any shame in that. Reshka has driven a brilliant race so far, but he could still lose out on the podium because Johnny Stokes has taken out another half second from him on that lap. It's down to 3.6 now, and incidentally, because Reshka is maybe only losing a tenth or two to the Red Bulls every lap, despite the DRS difference, which is actually quite impressive, Johnny Stokes is reeling him in by half a second. So incidentally, he is also reeling in the Red Bulls, as Danger David now is the next retirement in the pit lane, which is going to promote a few drivers up a few positions, but I don't think he was in the points anyway when he retired. So no news there on that front. Jacko has stayed out another lap. When are you coming in, Jack? I do not know. Into the last couple corners he goes. He's got Lou Simeons behind him now for company, as he's going to get the Ferrari DRS. Comes through the final corner. Here comes Lou Simeons to the inside, and Jacko stays out again. A little bit kind of forced that time, though. He kind of had to let the Ferrari go. He couldn't just turn into the pits, but even so, still staying out there on those medium tyres. It's not like there's rain coming up. Speed told us that. It's going to be clear skies for the whole race, but so I really don't know what Jack's plan is here. He's still going to exit just ahead of Palang, I think, and he'll still be in the top 10, but he could be so much closer, I feel, to the rest of the pack. Maybe hoping for a safety car, who knows. But anyway, Speed still putting the pressure on his teammate for this race win. Martin looking phenomenal right now, but so is Speed. And, well, the championship leader is going to take a massive lead in the championship if he can win this race. And even if he finishes second, he'll have a big lead, but not quite as much because Johnny Stokes is doing well as well. But Speed back into the lead of the race. And, well, I think the two teammates, I don't think they're in a party together, so no real team orders between the two. They're going to be fighting this till the end, so we could have some teammate drama at some point, as the championship lead has a little bit of a moment out of turn 4, but just about holds it together. Loses some time to Reshka though as a result, and Johnny Stokes again takes out another few tenths from Reshka, but I think the pace is slowing down for the Ferrari now. Jacko finally into the pits for those soft tyres, and well, his goal is going to be to chase down Womack for P8, because I don't think he's got really anything else on the cards in this race. Some 16 seconds up to the top 7, so unless there's a safety car, he's going to be battling for scraps. But he'll still be happy with a few points. Getting P8, he'll definitely be happy with that. Can tyres blow out in this game? Yes, they absolutely can, Harris. If the wear gets too high, as Martin retakes the lead of Finley's out. Finley's binned it, and we have a virtual safety car, but Finley, I think he's gotten on that curb, that orange and white curb on the outside. Oh my god, what is that on the circuits? That's great. Cialda's come in to get rid of those hards, but he's gotten himself a 10-second penalty, and he's retired from the session. So that is his race over, and that's going to be 2 spots gained for Jacko. Yeah, it was a tyre. It was a tyre in the middle of the track. That was a funny glitch, wasn't it? But Finley and Cialda both retiring in the... Well, Finley retiring in spectacular fashion. Cialda retiring in very mundane fashion in the pit lane. I don't know why. There's no reason for him to retire. He was doing fine. And I doubt Scott will be too happy about him retiring early either, when there was nothing wrong with him. But Jack Alacco is going to be very happy because he's up to P7, and he's only 2.8 behind Womax. He could get a top 6 finish here, could the Scottish driver, which I think he'd be very pleased with. It's now a 33-second gap between Lou Simeons and the top 4, so it's very much 2 races happening here. Palang gets himself a drive-through, which could allow other people to get into the points. Speed retakes the lead. Good opportunistic move under the after the VSC was taken back and the green flags were deployed. Reshka is now back within 2 seconds. He had a good VSC restart as well, but still not quite in range of those two Red Bulls. He needs something to happen between these two if he wants a chance at winning this race, and Johnny Stokes will be thinking the same thing. Finley says he hates this track. I'm guessing you got on the curb on the outside, Finley, and that was game over. That's what it seemed like. But Lou Simeon's into the top 5. The two Ferraris now, thanks to all those DNFs, actually having quite a good race, and they're not going to lose too many points to Red Bull now. They'll still lose quite a few with a Red Bull 1-2. Still going to be a very good day for these two, but Ferrari not too bad. And Finley, yes, indeed, got on that outside curb that they've just gone past there, and straight on into the wall is what happens when you do that. Palang retires as well. That's our 7th retirement of the day. Hards were not the tyre to start on. No, they weren't. Absolutely not. That became very clear pretty quickly. But yeah, it does seem like soft medium was the strategy to go for today. Tarkan Gino could get points on his debut, one more retirement, and despite being sort of languishing towards the back for most of this race, he could get himself on the podium anyway. And Vida Boy is going to get points on his debut as well, down there in P9, so he'll be happy with that, as Jacko does manage to get past Rumax for P6. I think that's going to be the best he can do, unless he can catch Lou Simeons and find a new lease of life in that Haas. 5 seconds is the gap, but I think he'll just be happy with bringing it home to P6. I think he'll be delighted with that, in fact, as Rumax is just going to be trundling home on those hards for P7. Meanwhile, the two Red Bulls, another 3 tenths they've gained to Reshka now, as they continue to stretch their advantage, and Martin looks to the inside of his teammate. They're going to be a little bit cautious here. They are going to have the constructors in mind, surely. But also Martin is definitely going to have the Drivers' Championship in mind, and he's not going to want to really push his teammate too hard here because of the constructors, but he also doesn't want to lose to his teammate because of the drivers. So a bit of a paradox going on for Martin here. I think he'll probably prioritise drivers, so he's probably going to go for it in the last few laps, which could spell disaster if he sends it a little too much. But as I said, I do think Martin is a much more mature driver than he was when he won his first title a couple of seasons ago. So I don't think he'll do anything too crazy, especially not to his teammate, but who knows? Reshka will certainly be hoping he does, as will Johnny Stokes, who is now within 1.3 of the Williams and nearly in DRS range. Johnny Stokes could get himself onto the podium. It'd be crucial points for both his team and himself, of course, in the Drivers' Championship, as Mar does make that move now on his teammate, back up into the lead of the race. Speed Alcoholic happy to let him go, but 6 laps left to go in this race, and who knows which of them is going to win this one. I think this is going to get quite the spicy battle in the last few laps. They're being very friendly towards each other at the moment, but whether it stays that way is another question entirely, as Lou Simeons in fact sets the fastest lap there and gets himself an extra point as it stands. Drained quite a bit of ERS to do so, but still great effort from him. Tarkan Gino, meanwhile, getting past Eisenborg, but he does have a 10-second penalty to his name from that pit lane speeding penalty. So he's going to be demoted back out of the points, and well, it would suck to have 11 drivers finish the race and to finish 11th and be the only one not to get a point. But there we have it. Martin, though, is stretching his legs. Perhaps Speed struggling a bit with tyre wear because he's lost a ton of time to his teammate, and the championship leader is looking to take all 25 points from this one. Got yellow flags in Sector 3. That is Eisenborg, who's gone round. So actually Tarkan Gino is very much in the hunt for points now. Eisenborg is going to be some 12, 13, 15 maybe seconds behind. And or thought about chooses at the very last moment to go into the pits. That could have been very, very nasty, but somehow he just about manages to survive. That was an extremely late call. I don't think Scott will be too happy about that when he watches this back. Talking of whom, he is in P8 at the moment, so he'll be happy to take a few points with him as well. But Speed, he's got the pace. He's definitely got the pace. I think it was just a mistake. He's got the pace to keep up with his teammate, but a mistake could cost him a chance at the race win here. 1.3 seconds now is the gap. He's got to get back in DRS range, but he's just not able to do it right now. He's going to drain his ERS. Martin doesn't have much left. Speed's not going to know that unless he sees the flashing red light on the back of his teammate's car. So he does have that advantage in that front, but I do think Martin has slightly better raw pace in this race. It's not much, but it could be enough to keep his teammate at bay out of that DRS range. 1.25 seconds now. It is so close. Can Speed get back in range? I'll tell you who is in range. Johnny Stokes now. 0.8 of a second between him and Reshka. And Reshka would be devastated to lose out on this podium in the last few laps here, but Johnny Stokes is going to want it bad. He needs it for the championship, for both championships, in fact. As they come through the middle sector, Johnny is going to have the DRS here, and a mistake from Reshka just ahead. Johnny is going to smell blood now. Speed alcoholic 1.1 behind his teammate. It's not quite enough, and they're going to go into another lap with Martin outside of the DRS range. And Speed running out of ERS now. They are now back equal on the ERS front, but we're going to have to cut back to these two for the other podium position. Johnny Stokes has the DRS, half a second, 0.4. It's going to come down to 0.3 to 0.2. It's not quite enough to send it into turn one, but Reshka's going to be worried. 3 laps he's got to hold off this Ferrari. Can he do it? Speed has got 3 laps to get back in DRS as well. A little mistake from Martin out of turn 4 has gained Speed a couple tenths. Is it going to be enough though? He needs to gain a few more in these next few corners. Johnny Stokes though, still putting the pressure on. Can Reshka hold on here? He made a mistake earlier on. Is he going to make another one and allow the Ferrari through to snatch away that podium? 2.5 laps left to go. This is nail-biting stuff in this Dutch Grand Prix. Speed alcoholic 1.1 again is the gap. He needs a great turn here. He made it a little bit too good and got in the gravel and loses the rear on the exit, and Martin survives another lap, and Speed is running out of time very quickly here. We've got another mistake. That's Lou Simeon's into the gravel further back, but he's far enough ahead that it won't matter. Jacko gets himself track limits, but he's 8 seconds ahead of Womack, so he'll be fine as well for P6. But down they go into turn 1, and Johnny Stokes still not close enough to make a move. He's going to have one more chance, you would think, into turn 1 of the next lap, but after that it's going to be very difficult for him to take this position. And I think maybe those softs are starting to wear away. But like I was saying earlier, Harris, yes, the tyres can blow out in this game. You can get punctures. If the tyres get to 75% or more, then you are at risk of a puncture for the rest of the time that you've got those tyres on. It could happen at any time. It's completely random, basically. But it gets more likely the more worn they are after 75%, I think, but that might not be true. But anyway, once they get to 100%, they do just puncture straight away. Anyway, but now Speed. He's run out of pace as well. He's 2 seconds behind, and that one mistake he made has cost him a chance at this race win, I think. Here comes Johnny Stokes though into turn 1. Reshka goes defensive. Can Johnny steal it on the last lap? He goes to the outside of turn 1. They're still side by side on the exit. He's going to have the better grip though. Reshka tries to stay ahead, but he loses the rear, and Johnny Stokes takes the podium cruelly away from Reshka on the final lap. There's nothing that the Williams driver can do now. Johnny's just going to have the better pace on the exits of corners. and Reshka needs a mistake from the Ferrari to retake his podium. Speed has gained some time on this lap, but it's nowhere near enough. Martin has done just enough. From P5 on the grid he was. But he has controlled this race ever since he got into the race lead and his teammate followed him there. They have both controlled this race expertly, and one mistake from Speed was all it took for Martin to run away with it. Reshka just behind Johnny. They might have a drag race to the line, but I don't think Reshka's going to be close enough. We will see. But Martin comes across the line to take a massive championship lead with 5 rounds to go. Speed comes home for a Red Bull 1-2. Johnny just about beats Reshka to the line by 0.04 of a second. What a brilliant battle between those two, but Reshka will be absolutely gutted to lose out on the podium. Lou Simeons is going to come home for P5. Vaderboy and Tarkan Gino take the last couple of points. They were already lapped, so that's why they finished already. Vaderboy points on debut for him, and Tarkan Gino points on debut for him as well. Or a point. Lou Simeons P5. Jack Alako comes home for a very respectable P6. He'll be very pleased with that. Womax is going to come home in P7, and Scott, quite a way behind, is going to come home in 8th place, and he'll be happy to take away 6 points from this one. Speed in the chat says that was lovely, and yeah, great race for Red Bull, but that one mistake cost you that chance at the race win. Speed, you have to be thinking what could have been. Four wins in a row for Martin. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's looking unstoppable. He's looking a far better driver than the championship he won in Season 5. Because he only just won that championship, and it was, well, controversy-ridden throughout, him and Marcus in particular. Plenty of incidents and other happenings between them, and Martin just didn't. He did win the title, but he didn't look particularly a mature driver doing it, and it was only by 1 point. But this time he is looking far more accomplished in his driving. And, well, if he keeps driving like this, he is going to walk his second ESRL title. And he does win the Dutch Grand Prix today ahead of his teammate Speed in P2. Johnny Stokes snatches the podium from Reshka on the final lap. But great races from both of them. Lou Simeons in P5 with the fastest lap. Jacko in P6. Womack, Scott, Vaderboy and Tarkan Gino, the last of the points finishers. Eisenborg in P11. Palang, Cialda, Finley, Danger David, Aces, Robin Brain and ZNYQ all out of the race. A typical Dutch Grand Prix with that many DNFs, I have to say. But, wow. Great Grand Prix, I have to say. Very, very good. Speed says definitely that one lap fresher tyres really helped him. I suppose so, yeah. But yeah, that one mistake that got you out of DRS range was kind of the killer blow, I have to say, from my point of view. And he's really fast this season and more consistent. Yeah, couldn't agree more. He's more consistent. He's more careful. He doesn't go for stupid moves anymore, from what I see. He's much more of a accomplished driver, and he's going to be very, very hard to beat, I think, if he keeps driving like that. But anyway, that has been the Dutch Grand Prix for today in ESRL. 5 rounds to go in this championship in Season 7. Next week, we head to... where are we going? Monza! Oh, that's going to be a good one. Oh, that's going to be a great one. ESRL always delivers at Monza. I'm sure this will be no different. So very much looking forward to that, and I'm sure you are too. Driver of the day today. Oof. I mean, it could be any of the top 4. All of them had great races. I got to give it to Martin though. 5th on the grid, battled his way through, never did anything rash, even had a bit of a tap from Robin Brain at one point, but just carried on. The old Mar would not have carried on so easily after that little tap. Season 5 Mar probably would have seen red after that, and been inconsistent for the next few laps, but he just carried on like nothing had happened, and that is a very different Mar than what we're used to. So yeah, he's going to be hard to beat this season. Very, very difficult. But anyway, thank you for watching Mar 10 Driver of the Day, and thank you to all our drivers in particular. No problem, Speed. It is my pleasure as always. It's a great race to commentate on as well. So thank you all ever so much for watching. I've been Ghost, and I'll see you next week for more ESRL. Goodbye.